Spencer, great to see you, man. Welcome to Pop Alternative.
Thanks for having me, man. Excited to be here.
Spooky season right around the corner, right? Best time of the year.
It's something I've looked forward to since I was a little kid, and I'm happy to say that anytime I see that the calendar's changing to October, puts a little pep in my step.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what, man? It's just crazy. I mean, Terrifier 3 is going to be in theaters soon. You know, the announcement came out that you guys have an amazing song, an amazing music video. I think the coolest thing, man, and I can't wait for people to see it, is how many hats you wore on this music video. You edited this, you wrote this. That's insane to me, man. Like, what was that like? Was that always the plan, or did you kind of get thrown into that specifically?
Well, thank you very much, and I can't take credit for all of it. I've got amazing collaborators in terms of writing. I write with my friends since I was a little kid, Andrew Smith, Paul Soder, who I've been a fan of for many, many years,
Yep.
who you would know from Broken Lizard and
Yep.
Club Dread and Super Troopers. And we work with an unbelievable director, Jensen, and everyone behind the scenes, from management to legal to everyone in the Terrifier camp. It's just been so awesome. You know, it's always weird to me that this is considered a job because I'm working with actors that I admire, writers that I've admired, um, working with film franchises that I'm a fan of. It's just crazy and just so honored that we have anything to do with this franchise.
Absolutely. And I just want to say for someone, I told you, I was a consummate when I was younger as well. And like Ice Nine Kills has been doing this for quite some time, man. And I remember those days where like, you were doing like a lot of tours and you were hustling. So you guys are just like that band that just continued on, man. And like I'm just happy for you guys, honestly.
Thank you. I totally remember playing in Montreal,
Yep.
um, our really the duration of our entire career off and on. I even remember specifically, I'm pretty sure we played with Like Moths to
Yep.
Flames on a Montreal tour, and I think we played on like the floor somewhere, like a VFW or a YMCA,
Yeah.
and I think of those times fondly. I love the small, intimate shows, and Canada's always treated us well. And I actually have a little bit of history growing up playing hockey
Yeah.
in New England, and we would always do one weekend a year where we would go to Saint Lambert
Yeah.
and play hockey, with kids in Montreal.
Oh yeah.
And yes, so I've always been a fan of
Yeah, absolutely.
Canada and hockey, and obviously Jason wears a hockey mask.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's amazing. And I just kind of want to ask because like specifically with a work of art, I just feel like did it feel like times where you were making a music video? Did it feel like times where you were making a movie? Was it a little bit of both? Like I'm just curious, right? Because it's so cinematic and I can't wait for people to see it. But was it a bit of both, like the process of it, or did it feel like a music video?
It was very cool, and it was a bit surreal because this was the first time we had filmed a music video where we were officially collaborating with the franchise that we were paying homage to.
Yep.
So it was definitely more so feeling like we were filming a movie, especially having, David there as Art the Clown, and Catherine and Leah
Thomas Ian
and
Nicholas.
yeah, I mean, people from American Pie, obviously Jose Mangan, who you would know from Sirius XM, Octane, and Liquid Metal. He is amazing in the video, and he's not even an actor, and like he I think could be a real actor. He was so good in it. We had so many cool cameos from other people from Sirius Radio. Vincent Rockwell, who's the program over there. We had Richard Christie, from the drummer of Death, and obviously he's on Sirius Radio on the Howard Stern show. And I knew he was a big fan of Terrifier, and
Mhm.
so that was just a natural thing to get him involved. And again, having people from the franchise like Catherine and Leah, it was just really cool. And also having our fans there,
Yep.
and it was really really cool because they had no idea what this video was going to be,
I had no
and
idea what it
so
was gonna be too, dude. All we got like I got early
yeah.
access. I had no idea what it was gonna be.
So they stepped foot onto the set, right, which was this warehouse that we made look like a concert hall. And I got up on stage. I think we have video footage of this, and I got to tell them in real time and record it. Hey guys, oh, thank you so much for being a part of this. I want to let you know that this is an official video
Oh my
for
God, Arthur
Terrifier
Clown
3.
is right there.
Yeah, and it's like I even get chills just saying that now because it was so cool to see the reaction and how excited they were. They were excited to be there anyway, but you put in the mix what I think is one of the greatest slasher franchises in recent memory, and
100%.
you have a recipe for something that was really exciting.
Damien is crushing it. Eli Roth, Thanksgiving. Did you see Thanksgiving? Eli Roth's Thanksgiving?
Oh yeah, it was awesome, and
Dude, so much fun. There's so much fun, those movies.
I've been a huge fan of Eli Roth since Cabin Fever came
Yep.
out, and it was so cool because we have our own horror convention, Silver Scream Con,
Yes.
and was just a few weeks ago, and Eli Roth was there, and
Yep.
Damien was there, and this was Eli's first horror convention in his home state of Massachusetts. So I finally
Yeah.
got to meet him and hang out with Damien, and all those guys are so
100.
down to earth and great people.
Like I was telling you before, I have a short horror film adjoining, like premiering at Screamfest in LA, and when you have ideas about certain things you want to write, there are certain songs that kind of influence you. So Shower Scene was something that definitely was on my mind when I was thinking of ideas. Because dude, I was just doing beach walks past all these motels in Virginia Beach on vacation, and I was just like, I wanted to do something about a motel, right? Like something creepy.
Right.
And I remember Shower Scene being one of the songs. So my question for you is how is do you get influence specifically? Like, is music or movies what influences you more with Ice Nine Kills? There's a bit of both in terms of because it's your stuff is very horror movie based with the lyrics and just the concepts and everything and the music and the art. But I'm just wondering, is it a bit of both, like music and movies, or are you guys more influenced by horror films? Would you say?
It's definitely equal parts of both, I would say.
Okay.
And it's funny because it's not only horror movies that influence us. My other love in cinema, I love all types of movies, but my other real true love genre-wise are comedies.
Yeah.
And bringing that influence in, like as I said, getting Paul Soder to co-write as being a big fan of his from the Broken Lizard stuff.
Yep.
I grew up on Halloween, Friday the 13th, but also Naked Gun and Police Academy and
Yep.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Mm-hmm.
And something that it's the first time I'm really speaking about this. We have an extended cut of this video, which actually runs 14 minutes. Now that part won't be in the theater with the film just because, running time, you can't do everything and you can't elongate the running time that much, but it will be once the video comes out online. There's a whole additional 7 minutes, which sort of sets up the next phase of the Inc. cinematic universe. And there's some really exciting cameos in that portion that I can't wait for people to see.
I'm curious because horror movies have always been around, but I've noticed this too, especially the last kind of 5-6 years of spooky season, Spencer. There's been this boom in popularity with horror films, right? Because there's different ways to scare people. There's just so much kind of innovation, and also the horror movie fans want to eat it all up. They want to eat the sci-fi content up, the thriller content, the zombies and everything. When would you say, as a fan of the craft, you started noticing that really big kind of boom in popularity? Would you say we're going back to the James Wan, Insidious, Conjuring days? Or are we going a little, or even did you really see it during Terrifier 1? I'm just curious about that for you.
Well, for me, since I've been such a fan of these movies since I was a little kid, it was always an everyday thing for me, right? And I would say the first time I really noticed that horror seemed to be in the zeitgeist in back into mainstream culture was when Scream came out. That was the first time where I heard my sister and her friends who weren't horror fans talking about a horror movie, seeing horror and Scream, and I Know What You Did Last Summer, talked about on MTV. I hadn't seen that really because I was too young to be aware of when it was in the cultural consciousness in the 80s, right? Because I was 2 or 3 years old. So that's when I really started to notice it. And then obviously, I think, found footage came into the awareness of the mainstream.
Yeah.
And then, as you said, I think after that, like the Eli Roth stuff and Saw and Rob Zombie coming into popularity in the horror world, and then sort of carrying into like this new wave of what you would think is sort of subculture horror, like not mainstream horror, like Terrifier, getting that recognition in the mainstream. So it sort of rode the wave over, since 1996. I sort of seen the ebbs and flows, but the release of Scream was the first time where I noticed, like, wow, people that aren't just the people who wear, heavy metal band shirts talking about horror.
Absolutely. And, I can't wait for people. I mean, the music video is going to be playing in theaters nationwide from one night only, October 10th. It's going to be in over 300 AMC and Marcus theaters. But then also, it's going to be coming out, the 7-minute music video, the October 11th, along with the new single. So they're going to be able to check all that out, which is exciting. And there's also going to be an extended cut as well that you were talking about that they're going to check out.
And I'm not sure when this will air. What date will this air?
By the time it's out or a day before, I don't know. We'll figure that out.
We're also, my first time I'm announcing it, we're doing a special premiere event in Beverly Hills, California, which is going to show Terrifier 3 and then the extended cut of the music video. So it's going to be a party, and we'll be announcing details about that very soon.
Amazing.
And the band's going to be there, some people from the movie, and there's going to be a Q&A after. So really excited about that.
Incredible. I can't wait for people to see it. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for your music, man. And thank you for your time, Spencer. It was great chatting with you. Seriously.
Great chatting with you too, man.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.